So just to cover this as a new rule added within the BeProfitSmart series, quite an important one. And by the way, I'm always adding in new rules to fit our method as we develop more and more data, because you have to imagine, the bets I'm placing and all the bets placed by members are essentially research. They're research into the ample amount of stakes and deposits one needs to place into a betting account to see any sort of results that are consistent long term and deliver gains that are more than worth the time. Of course, the aim is to get really quick at this, where you just glance at odds and you know where you sit, you know what has value and what doesn't. Then it becomes a couple of minutes a day, as most members spend. But you can see on this Betfred account particularly, there's about 6 pages of bets because it's not very old. But what happened was we started to win a little bit. You can see that happens on about this page. The first stakes don't really deliver much, but on the second page, you start to get £170 wins, 215, 196. And what happens at this point, 221, is that the EV is recognized within the variance curve much more quickly than usual. In other words, because I keep winning, the balance is going to rise very, very quickly. Now, there's not too much you can do about that. You could bet on lower odds and get lower returns, but obviously you'd be more likely to win. So that does just happen on some betting accounts, but it's not a problem because obviously the more you win, the more you're going to be up. So typically in these times, I go on the casino and I stake a bit of cash just to give them some sort of inkling that, maybe I'm still interested. It's not all about sports. But typically what I do is I just step the stakes up. So you can see that £25 each way were winning me 221 there. You can see that if I scroll down, there's 35 each way. So pretty much the stakes are climbing more rapidly than they would normally. So if I'm spending weeks getting my stakes up from £5 each way to 50, and suddenly I start winning a bit quicker than I thought, and the balance is rising a bit quicker than I thought, then I've got the means to just continue £35 each way, £40 each way, and you can see still the wins come about. But when we do lose, it's handy because that essentially allows you to drop some of the winnings you've gained. Now, that might sound, counterintuitive. I understand that. But really, the thing the bookmakers fear most is the quick losses. And that's why, if you spread it out over a longer period, and in the series, again, there's another secret rule I've just added that helps a ton with this. But basically, bookmakers more or less, and again, reflective of all the data and everyone who's placed bets, what they want is they want a longer trajectory curve. They don't want people to come in and win really quickly because it scares the crap out of them. They say, they sort of think, oh my God, someone's come in, they're winning all this cash, it's happening so quickly. The P&L is just dropping. The profit on that account is dropping really quickly. What do we do? And that's why people get restricted really quickly. It's just the speed at which they start to win, because obviously you've got to remember that bookmakers are fully aware of the risk that a customer imposes, and mostly the relationship between a betting site client or member and the betting company is supposed to be a long-term one for them. Obviously, the business model, if you think about how a bookmaker sits, they would typically want clients to bet for longer periods, because obviously if they're doing that, they're losing money over time. So obviously, if they've not placed many bets and they've won a lot, then the returns on the stakes and the profit and loss on that individual is going to be completely skewed. So, if they're not a long-term customer and suddenly they're just ripping all this money, it's never going to bode well. But if they're a long-term customer, the bookmaker may think, well, you know what? They may end up losing eventually. And actually, this is just a blip and this is just a win for now, and it will all end. Obviously, it doesn't. If you see my videos, you'll notice that the gains grow over time. It's important to remember as well that if you do lose, it's actually really handy. The best accounts always lose early on because that basically creates a backlog of betting losses, if you like, and then you can reclaim it all more or less by placing more bets over a longer period of time. So in any case, it's good to be steady, but normally there's an aggressive stance taken if your balance rises, because you'll either win a lot more and then get restricted but walk away with all the cash, or you will lose and then the account will last longer anyway. So it's more or less a win-win, if you like, in that instance. So just bear that in mind as a quick rule. And there's a bit of, betting content you can see there. But I'll be posting more. Don't forget, if you want to learn how to bet for income, just go underneath the video. See you in the next one.